Saturday morning, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. Here we go. Another radio show for you, Collectors Radio. So we do appreciate everybody gathering around every morning on Saturdays for it. So again, here we go. We got some cool things to talk about and everything, and we're going to go ahead and read your comments because that is a major part of the show. At least it means that to me, and engaging with you folks and everything. And so, all right, no particular order. Again, if your comment wasn't read, it's probably after the fact of the production of the show, or it just got pulled, or your comment is just doesn't fit in with us. Okay, Jeffrey Richardson, sip of coffee. Yes. Great looking single actions. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I've had many. I've had a few. I've had a handful over the time that I've been doing all the gun. The hobby, if you will. Like I said before, YouTube. I actually had a Beretta Stampede. That was my very first one, and I got rid of it. So. In a way, I miss it. It wasn't exactly a true Colt clone as I grown to more like later, but it definitely it was definitely fun. I enjoyed it a lot. All right, Angry Ranger. I've always been a single action Army fan. Fired my first handgun rounds in a 1882 Colt single action in 45 Colt, loaded with 40 grains of black powder and 255 grain cast lead bullets. When I was 8. And I thought it was firing a cannon. It sounds like a cannon already. Excuse me. My great uncle carried a old Colt during his time as part-time deputy and full-time bounty hunter on the northern plains in the late 1800s and 1920. Learned much from him, and yes, I'm old. That's okay. Nothing wrong with that. It means you've got a lot more time and mileage around the playing field and more knowledge than a lot of us that are younger do. And myself, like being a younger person, I always tried to learn from the older people that have been there, done that, made those mistakes, and found out about them, and then hopefully can teach somebody like me not to make those mistakes. So that's where I try to learn lessons in life and get life lessons, because that's just the way I was brought up. All right. This one comes from user. Got quite a jumbled up, mixed up letters, and he says super gun. Yes, gotta love a single action. If you've never taken one of these to the range or messed around with them, maybe you've seen them in a shop or something, and you just didn't bother with them, I tell you, you were missing out, because this is so much fun to take to the range and just have a blast with it. Literally, pun intended. All right, David here says, haven't been to the range myself since March. I like the new Colts. I don't know if I would buy one at 69. Not getting around much anymore. I hope Colt does real well. I have some old ones. Nice. It's always as a collector myself, vintage stuff is always going to be cool stuff. Yeah, so I could see, you definitely, if you got the old ones, the newer ones would be geared more towards interests. Like, to me, like if you want to take them out and actually shoot them and run them. If I wasn't really doing that, I probably would enjoy having the older one, just to take it out, drool on it and everything, because they are really nice. But I and of course the older ones were commanding so much money over the times, it really shied me away from them, even though I've had a few over the years, messed with them, but always felt like they were too expensive to take out and enjoy. So for me, it's nice that I get to experience it as a catalog item, and going to the store, seeing them in the cases, brand new for the prices that are pretty reasonable. I'm not saying they're cheap, but reasonable prices. They're not $3,000, $4,000. You can pick one up for half or less than that cost and go out and enjoy them. All right, Jeffrey Richardson, absolutely watching to the end. Can't wait to see what rifle you bring out. Yes, in time. I don't have the rifle in my possession, Jeffrey. I just got to go pick it up at some point and bring it out for you folks, so we can check it out together. Okay, Joe P, good morning, and swig of coffee for Joe. Loved to see the Rooster shooter still hanging around. A lot of fun vids were made with that pistol. Plus, it spawned a bunch of great grips too. Yes, that is honestly the reason why this has stayed in the collection. This is the Rooster shooter. This is that Cimarron imported, Pieta made. Probably one of the very first Rooster shooters they made. Of course, now they got a bunch of them out now, and this one really did spawn a lot of stuff. This had been in more videos than any of the other guns, I believe. Some of those videos are gone. They're not up there anymore. But throughout the time that I can think of doing YouTube and all that and stuff we shot, even stuff that we didn't post or behind the scenes or just in general rolling around in my friend's coffee land or my friend's property, this gun was there, and we shot wax bullets out of it. This gun has been photographed so many times from all kinds of different things. We were doing, I wish I had this photo somewhere. I wish it was great. We had at some point picked up wax bullets, and it was from the Cowboy Fast Draw Association. We had contacted them, and we gotten in touch and everything like that. So they gave us a little bit of price break and a care package, if you will. They sent along a hat and a shirt and all that. It was really cool of them. Really nice people. And I didn't use it necessarily Cowboy Fast Draw. We used it for going around on the coffee land and just shooting stuff. And one of the things and if you don't know what I'm talking about, wax bullets, they sold these special casings, which I still have them in storage somewhere. They sold special 45 Colt casings, and I think they do 38 as well. That the large pistol primer, you didn't need to seat it or nothing. You didn't need a tool. It just sat in the back. Now, the only thing about it is you have to be very careful when you load it into the gun to just kind of hold it in place and just get it in there, and then there you go, you're good to go. So, and then when you're done with them, they just fall right out. So it's no big deal. Loading these things are a cinch. So with that in mind, it enabled us to just do all sorts of stuff, shooting, because one of the things that we did was aerial shooting, because obviously it's dangerous to do that because what goes up must come down. But in this case, you're just shooting this little wax plug. You could whip this thing as hard as you could, at somebody's back, and it's not going to hurt them. Obviously, I wouldn't want to get shot with one with a primer because it would leave a welt, probably break the skin, because it did have quite a power to it. But we would take those clay targets that you shoot with shotgun and throw them in the air and shoot them out of the sky. That was one of the cool things we used to do. That was done with this, mostly with this. And there's a picture of I just thrown it up there and actually hit the thing, which is surprising. It shocked everybody. I was shocked. But there was a photo of it actually busting in the air. That was really cool. Wish that somehow, but yeah, that thing has been. That's one of the reasons, honestly, we brought it back out for this second time around. Was that Joe's comment there made me think about that, and I did really think that wow, that there was so many videos with that thing done. It's crazy, and it really is all still intact, minus the grips. It's all still there. That's still all in one piece, really. And for as much stuff as that thing's gone through, And for me too, that caliber 45 Colt, I used to be more interested in it than I am now. I'll admit that. I used to have a really more of an interest in it, but not so much now, as it's kind of gotten away from me a little bit. A gun. I just always felt, over the time, I kind of got to that point, because really what got me truly interested too, aside from obviously watching way too many John Wayne movies and stuff when I was younger, but you know, when I saw a video of somebody shooting one of these things and then punching out that big pieces of brass out of that cylinder, that it was just super cool. I said, I gotta have that. That's just gotta be. I gotta experience that for myself. So, anyhow, all right. Slimfire, hello JW, and I hope you had a great weekend and week. I have a Uberti 1873 45 LC with a 7.5 barrel. That shoots great and very well made at a nice price. It's fun to go to the range with something different to shoot other than a 45 ACP or double action. Thanks so much. Yes, that is exactly another thing. It's about really cool about those is it is different. It is a lot different. You know what? The other cool thing about it is you can actually prolong your shooting day without expending so many rounds and costing yourself a bundle. But not saying that 45 LC or any of that is cheap, because if you ever seen a box of that. But I think most of us that shoot it, I think even myself, like shooting 3840 and whatnot, we are going to hand press those ourselves. So, all right, Mike. Hello, JW. Been enjoying your show. I'm glad that all of the small YouTube content creators continue to make videos. Yes, a lot of us small channels like myself, we're trying to hang in there. I hung in there for you folks, really, because I know we enjoy the content here, and I still enjoy making the content, and I've actually just grown to enjoy doing the show format that I do here more so than any of the other stuff, and it gives me the opportunity to kind of take a slow step at talking about something without feeling so rushed with trying to like showcase something up close and do kind of run through all the details. I feel like this is a little bit slower pace, which I like, and can take the time to kind of explain or talk about something experience wise and all that. So I do enjoy this format a whole lot more, although lately we did do some stuff with the Colt revolvers and whatnot and the grips, and more to come on that. That we've been enjoying doing. So absolutely gives us viewers a lot of variety, thanks to all you creators. Yeah, and I appreciate that, Mike. Also notice the new Colt Anaconda cylinder is much longer and bigger around compared to the Smith Model 29. Do you think Colt will offer large calibers in the Anaconda like the 454 Casole? Best wishes from Montana. That's from Mike here. Yeah, I think because if you look at what they've been doing, they've already jumped into the Kodiak and the Grizzly, and I think that's really cool. I'm glad that they're jumping into that. I hope they try to. It's not a deal breaker for me, but I'm not too wild about the extra added ribs that they've been putting on top of those things. I wish they would have kept it more traditional than that, but I think that's a small, on the scale of things, looking at the whole picture, what they have offered and what they brought out, I think that's a small critique. It's certainly not going to deter me from purchasing one. I've come to that conclusion myself, that be it if they do or don't make a 4-inch with the 2 ribs and they just do the 3 or whatnot in blue, thus far it's not going to stop me from eventually buying one. I've come to that conclusion. I've been kind of rolling it in my head over this last month or so that I've owned the 6. So that's where I come to the conclusion of, and I hope that they do make those in the other calibers, because it's nice to have a really good quality company with a nice name like that Colt has come back to the market, returned with those firearms there. And yeah, the Anaconda is just super cool. if I pick one of those up in the future, I'm definitely going to have to get the 6-inch myself and then switch out it for wood grips. And it'll be a 44 special gun mostly for me, but it will be nice to have something like that. If I want a little bit of a moderate magnum or something, throw it in there. Because I do believe those are a lot, from my experience, and especially from the Pythons, they're built so much stronger and better than they ever have. And gotta say, I'm kind of leaning towards the side of those Colt snake guns, especially a Python. They kind of got me sold on them, and that's definitely my favorite go-to revolver now. All right. Sean says, morning Bad Jack, definitely something cool about the single action army. Tuco Rate is a channel that does fast draw and triple shots, but you have to do some gunsmithing to fan those guns, or they'll ruin them. Great show as always. Yeah, I do know that you got to get those things. Don't be just going out there and trying to whiplash those things like that. I myself just, I go out there, plink steel, roll cans, whatever. So it's good enough for me. All right, Warren. Hi, Bad Check. I think we all watch John Wayne too much and get people in the single action revolvers. I always thought Ruger was the revolver to get. What are your thoughts on Kimber revolvers? Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Cheers. Kimber, they're a good company. They definitely make a good name for themselves. When it comes to firearms, for me, I guess I'm kind of weird in a sense, because it's all about aesthetics for me, and it's all about a movie connection. And that segues into one of our last comments here to read. But for me, a lot of my firearms interest comes from a film, John Wayne or whatnot, and of course all the cool guys. The 1911 seems to be kind of that one-off that it broadens more of a scale for me, because, but always with the 1911, the classic plain Jane GI model is always my favorite, preferably a Colt, just for the heritage of it. But I have seen those Kimbers. They're really nicely tuned. They are for me, they're a bit modernized, too much for me to be interested in them. When it comes to my revolvers, I really like tradition. I really like just something that resembles the things of yesteryear, the good old days that I would love to go back in a time machine and be there. But yeah, I'm sure they're really good. I've had no designs on getting one or anything like that. Wouldn't pass up on an opportunity to shoot one, but those kind of fall in line with the same thing with like the Rhino. I'm sure they're wonderful and great, but a little too spacecraft for me. So anyway, that's just my thoughts. I'm really pretty tradition on things. They have to have a certain look. When I think of revolvers, I think of like all those old bogey films, and of course like Dirty Harry and all those 70s cop films that, that sums up the revolver love for me. All right, Crazy Scotsman. I think most companies nowadays really are not paying attention to what the customer wants. They rely on their name alone to make sales. It is good to see Colt has done a good job regarding the new models, but if they ain't following the true old Colt consumer, what the consumer wants, eventually they will have a hard time. 44 is the way. My 29 brother. Yeah. Yes. The 29 never gets old. It's such a beautiful, revolver for sure. I think Colt's on the right track. I don't want to beat up on them too bad. I think they're on the right track. They certainly got my interest in them, and I'm certainly, I have never had that much fun and enthusiasm with a revolver for quite some time as I do with the new Python. I think it's an excellent revolver. Frank says, doing great job. Maybe pick a movie gun of the week. Love your thoughts. Yeah, we'll have to do that. I guess this week we're talking about the single action and all that. So yeah, we'll definitely look into a movie pick. every week. We'll try to remember to do that if I can remember to do that. But yeah, movie firearms is definitely something is big for me, a big influence. Wanted to kind of go over some stuff here that I did. One of the things I did do recently was I had these Safariland speed loaders for my Python because of Magnum Force. If you kind of watch when David Soul, I always thought that you push the back of these to go in there, but it doesn't. The way they work is actually that doesn't do anything. They gotta go in the middle post has to hit it and then pop them in there. I don't know if what kind of a critique I want to make on this or whatnot, but from what I understand, he's been around for a long time, and the Python, it's not like I put grips on there that are unorthodox or different. Those are traditional replicas of the grips from yesteryear. These speed loaders do work, but they do have a little. I'm running the Gen 3, the Gen 3 grip, the early Gen 3 grip, which does have that space cut out for it. And these are, I haven't tried it with the new grips that are on it by the ones that come with it. Maybe they work better. But I had issues with it kind of banging into the grip a little bit, putting some small marring on it, which I didn't like because those grips are nice and they're expensive. And they're beautiful, and I don't want to just abuse them out of my way, abusing them. And that's the way I felt with these. So I did a couple modifications to mine. One, I figured modifying something like this was better than cutting into. I wouldn't dare even think of. I know some people just shuddered right now when they thought about that. To cutting into the beautiful grips that are handcrafted by Deer Hollow grips. Deer Hollow Enterprises would never ever even think about doing that. So obviously modify the $15 speed loader. That's a no-brainer. If you even have to think about that, you shouldn't have either one. I took a Dremel and actually shaved down the back of this. All the edges, I cut it down. These are plastic anyway. I cut it down. It looks crude, but you know what? It ended up working a whole lot better because now I can get past the grip. And then also the thing I did, if you actually notice it, the center there, that they do have a little button there that attaches there. I actually put a little dot of rubber or hot glue on mine, which protrudes it a little bit more, so it hits the contact point is even further sooner. And so it really just gets it all done. With those modifications, this works actually pretty good, quite well. So that's what I did to mine, in case anybody was thinking about doing something like that. The other thing I wanted to bring out was, I thought about this. And the reason I brought out my 22 1911 here that's been kind of cobbled together, I started thinking about it. The Colt Ace, we actually was just out and about. We saw the Colt Ace 1911, which is a really cool 1911 with the 22. I'm talking specifically the service Ace. Very interesting, but it's a neat gun, very cumbersome to clean and everything. So, and it with all that in mind, it's a neat collectible. It's a neat one to kind of take out and shoot, especially when you're shooting mini mags out of it, CCI. Really cool. But I kind of prefer just to have something like this, which is my 22 blaster, if you will, with the aluminum alloy frame with the Kimber conversion unit on top, which I like that because it's aluminum. Stainless barrel, obviously. I believe it is stainless. And it works great. It's really lightweight. Kimber's magazines for it are polymer, so that even adds more to the lightweightness. We've talked about that. But yeah, that's kind of wanted to talk about that a little bit and, bring that out because I thought that was an interesting thing to go with on that. But yeah, anyhow, I'm going to get out of here, let you guys get back to your weekend, but just wanted to bring some of that stuff out there. In the future here, what we're working on trying to get some other stuff grip wise for the pythons, to talk about that a little bit more and going through there. And I'm also keeping track on what's going on with the Colt lineup and where they're at with those things. I hope the blue pythons are getting more and more available for people to get. That will be awesome. Yeah, hopefully they're getting more and more available for everybody on that note, for sure. So anyhow, as far as Deer Hollow Enterprises, his grips, I know I've been getting a lot of comments that say he's sold out. Rightfully so. His grips speak for themselves, the quality and everything. He is quite sold out. Right now he is working on stuff. They're getting ready to, produce more stuff out there. I've got my name on the list for a couple other pairs that I really want to get. Some people may ask, why, why jump on that? Like, for me, I can speak on this, on my behalf on this. The way I look at it is, you have somebody that's doing what he's doing, and what he's offering is phenomenal. People like that, we would hope they stick around and they keep doing it. But when you have one-off things like that, especially one-man operation, custom work that they're doing out there, it doesn't last forever, people. It doesn't last forever. So anyway, I'll see you.